So, what we talked about last class, all right? So, anyone here tell me what we talked about last time? There's got to be at least someone in here that was in last class. Yep, that is correct. And so we're going to continue that because we did not get to everything, did we? No, we still have uh, we still have woods and uh, wood type of materials, and I'm not sure if we got all the way through leathers. And of course, if you end up having questions about now, the interesting thing, and the fact that you just brought this up, Jalil Moon Snow, I won't go directly into that. That will be, but it is true. Okay, if an extra dimensional being, demons, devils, devilkin, etc., if you want materials from them, most likely you'll have to go to their plane of existence. Otherwise, you're going to have to trap them here. Okay? Is it possible? Obviously, it is definitely possible. And also, traveling to their plane of existence is not easy, nor is it very safe. But it can happen. Okay? But I will leave that down on your level. You can talk to your guild leads on how to accomplish those missions. But yes, it is it is distinctly possible to do those things. Okay. Now, I know that we didn't finish leathers because leathers will take I could spend 10 hours working on just on leather alone and still not cover everything. So, when it comes to leathers, you're going to have to ask me specifics because for me to go down an entire monstrous list is just untenable. And 99.9% of it are things that you won't care about. So, if there are specific beasties that you want to know the properties of and the repercussions in some cases of going after those, you'll have to let me know. So before I start moving on into woods and similar materials, I will go ahead and throw that out there. Zorn. Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and answer that one. Okay. Zorn. As we know, Zorn is a semi-elemental being. Okay. They have they originate from the elemental plane of Earth, but they have been what's the best way to put it? Um, acclimatized. They have been acclimatized. Okay, so uh, Zorn leather is going to give you someone who is able to work it, which is not an easy task. You'll have to be pretty high level in that dimension, but if you're able to do so, the end result will be some protection from earth abilities. Okay, and if properly, it is conceivable that if you have all the ingredients and necessary, the best you can get from that, which could be quite distinctly good, is camouflage ability. Okay, against um, yeah, all types of vegetation, rocks, etc., etc. So you could have leather armor that grants camo. Okay. All right. Now, blink dogs. Number one, yeah, you're going to have a few people that are upset with you because blink dogs are good aligned beasties. Okay. Uh, but blink a blink dog would, if properly treated, if done properly, could effectively um, leather used from them give you short range teleport. Blink. Okay. Possible. It's you know debatable on how successful that would be, but you will. Yeah, they probably have a few individuals that are less than happy with you. That is actually true. As far as if you actually have a blink dog, if you're touching a blink dog, when it blinks, it could uh, you could hitch a ride with it. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Don't let go. As far as how that ability would be activated, that would really come down to the mage and artificer working on it. And, obviously you're going to need a leather worker, but as far as actually working out the specifics of how it worked, that would be entirely fall into the dimension of the artificer and the mage. Because a blink dog uses its abilities from its own linguistics and teleports on command, then it is distinctly possible that you could craft something that was on command. Okay? It is, it's distinctly possible. Okay. Any other leathers real fast before we move on to woods? And if some come up, you're more than welcome to ask. But I will go ahead and. Okay, go ahead. Chill of Loss. Underdark lizards. There's actually several varieties of Underdark lizards. Um, it depends on which one we're talking about. The riding lizards. It would it wouldn't grant the ability to stick to walls, spider climb, as it were, because that comes from the pads on the bottom of their feet. Okay, the pads on the bottom of their feet have tiny little hooks. Okay, it's not a magical quality that is inherent in their makeup. It's the way their body is designed. Okay. There are some that actually have suction cups on the bottom of their feet, and those are the ones that are specifically designed for wall crawling. Your typical riding lizard isn't really built that way. Yes, like some species of geckos. Yeah, it depends on what that riding lizard, what type it is. Okay, there are several varieties of uh, lizards in the Underdark, but none of them are specifically magically inclined to make it that way. They're bred for it. Okay, they either have the little hooks or they have suction cups. It depends on if they have other uses. Okay, you can use their you can analyze their feet and figure out how it works and maybe come up with it. Is it possible? Yes. Okay. All good, Jalil Ortharius. Have a seat. Okay. So, any other beasties before I move on to leathers? I mean, move on from leathers. All right. If you think of something, you're more than welcome to throw it out there later. Okay. There's many plants that are out there, so this might take a wee bit. Before we get into the direct plants, I'm going to hit silks, which fall under both categories. Okay, because they're technically an animal byproduct. Okay, but they are more commonly used in uh, cloth works. Okay, so it's kind of an in-between stage of the game, kind of like honey. You know, it's an animal byproduct. Silk is a product from both worms and spiders. Okay, they produce it from internally, and silk itself already has properties. If any of you are familiar, if you have had a silk shirt, you will note that that silk shirt is has an inherent trait of not being punctured that easily. Okay, silk is not easily penetrated. Is it possible? Of course it is. You know, otherwise you could not sew, could you? You could not use it to sew. But it is more difficult than standard cloth, cottons, etc., etc. So using a special silk is going to grant you a little bit of armor class. Let's go all the way to the top, okay, of that. Iron spider silk. Okay, he's right about that. And that's exactly what I was talking about. Silk parachutes. Um, it's much easier to carry than a shield. So silk is going to grant you some protection from penetration already. So if you go all the way to the top level of that, which is iron spider silk, then that's going to grant you protection like steel, okay? But with nearly negligible weight, okay? So if you happen to be lucky enough to get a robe or a cloak or you know even straight up clothing made of iron spider silk, it it's like wearing steel armor with almost no weight. Okay, it doesn't protect you from bludgeoning weapons, however. Okay, so hammers and maces are still gonna do max damage to you. Okay, but arrows, swords, spears, daggers, not so much. Okay, and there are very few people who actually have access to iron spiders, but so pretty much when you get iron spider silk, it's probably because you got it on a deep roads run in a battle. Okay, but yes, I have on rare occasion run events that the reward for participation is iron spider silk, because I happen to be one of the few people who actually has an iron spider. But I am not the only one. Uh, but that's the best of the type. Yes, when you do have time, it is a great item. It is a great item because it weighs next to nothing and protects you from pointy things. Okay, now you know there is another type of spider that is, maybe equally rare, that produces a type of silk as well, and that's the clockwork spider. Okay, now a clockwork spider crafts an artificial version of iron spider silk. Okay, now the clockwork spiders are also, of course, not common, um, because most of them are from hundreds of thousands of years ago, but they do still exist on rare occasion, and they are things that are possible to encounter in a deep roads run. Okay, thank you for bringing that one up. That was next one on my list. Phase spider silk. Phase spiders are also a rare type of spider, and it is a spider that uh, can phase shift just like it sounds. They can be in more than one dimension at once. Now, consequently, their spider is going to, their spider silk is going to grant that potential uh, to you. So, should someone have the skills necessary to work with phase spider silk, then a suit of armor, cloak, robe, etc., that's built from that has the potential to phase you. Okay? And subsequently, then that gives you a random, not controlled. That is correct displacement. You're right. That gives you a potential to randomly shift when attacked. So what that means in numerical terms is that 25% of the time when someone attacks you, their blow might go through you unless they carry an item that is designed to hit ghosts. Okay? Because ghosts are out of phase already. Okay? Ghosts inhabit both the negative material plane and the positive material, and the prime material plane, my apologies, at the same time. Exactly correct. Phasing touches the ethereal plane. So during a moment when you are phased, you are actually in the ethereal plane instead of the prime, just like a ghost. So someone whose weapons are designed to hit ghosts are also going to be designed to hit phased beasties or people in the case of the armor you're wearing. Okay? Does that make sense? Now there are not a lot of weapons that are designed to hit ghosts. But there are some shaman, for a good example. There are a few spells that are specifically designed to hit uh, otherworldly beasties. Shaman are notorious for that because that is what they work with. Okay? Necromancers also. Okay? But clerics and mages absolutely have access. Okay? And because what is the what's the prime villain that that you think of when you think of versus a cleric? Demons and devils. Now, demons and devils are from another plane of existence, aren't they? So it only makes sense that you would have weapons designed to fight against them. The most commonly used spell that a cleric may possess versus demons and devils is a hammer. Does anyone know what that hammer spell is called? Okay. It's commonly called Hammer of Wrath, but it does have some other names too. It's not a it's not an actual item, it's a spell. Okay? Now, Hammer of Wrath will hit someone that is phased. Spiritual Hammer. You got it. That's its most common name, is Spiritual Hammer. Good job. Impressive. Most impressive. But you are not a Jedi yet. Okay. So, there you go. That is excellent. That is excellent. And all shaman have a version of spiritual hammer called spiritual spear or spear of wrath, depending on you know your nomenclature. But it is the same spell, and that spell will strike someone that is phased. So that 25% chance of you being missed goes away. But very few people have those things. Okay, it's you know you gotta play to your audience. Remember who you're against. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, I hope that answered your question about phase spider silk. So I've covered clockwork silk. Oh, did I get there? No. All right, let me finish the clockwork silk. Clockwork silk is an artificial creation, a fabricated iron spider silk. So it's not quite as as awesome as iron spider silk, but it is effective. It's the level down below that. Okay, so it is good stuff to have. And should you be lucky enough to get a clockwork spider pet, which trust me is not out of the realm of possibility, don't kill it. um, okay. All right. Spider silks. I think I've generally covered them. So moving on from there, let's hit up woods. Okay. Now everyone knows that. Okay. I'll answer that real fast. Clockwork spider silk is just a level below iron spider silk. It does the same thing. It has the same basic um, principles. Has it does the same has the same basic protections, but it's a little bit less effective. It's not quite as good. It's more powerful than regular silk. Okay, so it's a little bit more protective. If you're numerically, numerically, if you're wearing iron spider silk, then even though you are a clothy, then you are wearing plate mail armor. Okay? Clockwork spider silk would give you the same protection as chainmail. Okay? Does that help? Giving you a numerical backdrop there. Okay. Hopefully that answered your question. Now we're going to move on to wood. Okay. Now everyone knows that oak is a special wood. It's as well as um, willow, yew. I mean, they can mistletoe. They are used in a variety of spellcraft and designs. Yes, Jill Bellman, that that is correct. That is made of clockwork spider silk. You got it. Okay. Now, as far as oak goes, now all your standard ones are going to act just like standard ones, except in certain in certain hands. In the hands of a warden, okay? Does anyone know what separates a warden from all other classes? Doom, 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 doom. Okay, I'll tell you. Wardens don't use metal. Wardens do not use metal. Okay? Wardens, they have the special ability to make wood into a as hard as metal. Okay? They make, yes, ironwood. They have the ability to craft ironwood. Okay? It is part of the class makeup. As they get as they raise in level, they get better. And ironwood is the top of their food chain, as a, for lack of a better word. Also, part of their makeup. Yes, they do. You have to have been a druid in order to become a warden. Okay. Another thing that they have is that they can make wood not burn. Okay. So if, example, they make an ironwood suit of armor, okay, it is not flammable. Okay. It is part of the class makeup. It's part of their magics. Is that they have figured out how to make wood as strong as steel and how to make it so that it doesn't burn. Okay. So a warden is not going to have a wooden, I'm not going to have a metal sword. Okay. There you go. Cenarius was a warden, is a warden, in case you didn't know that. Okay. So a a warden is going to run around with a wooden sword, and people will think, "Oh, he's got a play sword. Look at that. That dude's got a play sword." No, not in the hands of a warden. That sword is going to cut through anything else just like as though it was steel. Okay? Now bringing that up, okay? Ironwood does exist. Okay? There are ironwood forests. They are extremely rare, and mostly you will find them in the deep roads, in the old kingdom. Okay? Because when the world burned a long time ago and killed a lot of stuff, not everything, um, they one of the targets of the bad guys at that particular time, who happened to be these bad guy type of dragons, they focused on burning down forests of special stuff. Now, the Underdark, the old kingdom, was not plagued by those dragons. So those forests still exist down there. Now, some of you may be asking, how do real regular trees exist in a world that's underground, that has, you know, no sun? Well, I point to the dark sun. I point to what the fallen star used to be before it crashed. Because dark elves used to have sons. There are caverns in the Old Kingdom that are large enough to house New York City, okay? And still have room for the Bay and Brooklyn and all the surrounding territory. New Jersey even, okay? There are caverns large enough to house that. Is anyone here familiar with the with you've all okay, you know the state of Missouri, right? Okay? I know that most of you have probably never been there, but the entire the entire state is on a cave. The entire state is on a cave. If there were a big enough earthquake, the entire state, including part of Arkansas and Nebraska, would be a crater. Okay? So some of the caves in the Underdark, in the Old Kingdom, are big enough to hold entire states. Okay? And that's many, many cities. Okay? So under those circumstances, in those places, that's where you're going to find ironwood trees. Now they have a different name in the Old Kingdom. It's a little thorn. You have a list that talks about white trees, black trees, red trees, and blue trees, don't you? Okay, thank you. All right. Can you throw out the name of the blue tree? The one with the blue bark. Yes, we are right now. We are going to in this class. Doom, 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 doom. While she's looking that up, yeah, the blue one. That's right. The one with the blue bark. I know there's ones with white bark and blue leaves, but this particular one I'm asking about is the blue bark. Yep, that's the one. The one with the turquoise bark. That's correct. That's the one I mean. She's going to give you the name in just a moment here. But this, my friends, is ironwood. So should you run across the Balthana tree in the deep roads or bark from it, that's ironwood. Okay? That right there is ironwood. Now on the same note, okay, just so you guys know, a lot of when I give you information in a row, if you decide to go to the library on where we are and research that knowledge, then you will have a 5% chance per hour to actually learn that and it is cumulative. Okay, so in so eventually you will gain that knowledge. Some of the stuff that I'm telling you that is OOC, I'm giving you the opportunity to know what you can look for icily. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So if I tell you about the Balthania tree, for example, then you have the ability to look for that knowledge in the library icily. Okay? It's exactly like dice rolling for professions. Exactly like it. Yep. If you don't have somebody that already knows, you go to the library and then you sit there and you role play that you're looking through books, and then one eventually the dice will hit and you go, Eureka! I just found out Balthania is Ironwood. Dun dun dun. Okay, now. Okay. White bark. Okay. There there are two white bark trees. One's got red leaves and one has blue leaves. Okay? Okay. Jill Thorn, throw out the one with blue leaves. There we go. Okay. Now this particular tree is cultivated by dark elven priests. Okay? So it was nearly extinct, so you're not going to see it uh, that often in the wild. If you find it, it's in a grove, okay, that was specifically planted by dark elven priests, okay? And this tree, the bark used from this tree makes it so that any weapon crafted from it is particularly pliable, okay? So you could make chains, for example, all right? It's like having it's like having super strength rope, okay? Mm. It is obviously sacred to a variety of the priest types, and it is used in all baskets, okay? Because this wood does not burn, okay? This wood does not burn. You cannot set it on fire, okay? So it is very effective and building pretty much anything that you want that's made of wood that you don't want to burn. Huts, thatching, I don't know, all kinds of, there's a variety of different things that you don't want to burn, okay? If, yeah, smart, smart Jalil. That's exactly correct. If if you don't want your ship to burn, make it out of Arkandor wood. Okay? So, that is a good one. All right. Jalil Thorn, Throw out the white tree with the red leaves. Yes. If it was Arkandor, then it would have been immune to fireballs. Okay? Your sails would still burn. All the people on it would still burn, but the ship would still be there. Okay. Zillow Thorn, what is the white tree with red leaves called? Yeah. Okay. We'll go with that one. The black one with red leaves. Okay. Black one with red leaves. Now, you remember a few minutes ago when I talked about the ironwood tree, right? Okay. Now, yes, the Terrillium, the the main thing about Terrillium is not only is it strong, it's not quite as, impenetrable as ironwood, okay? It but it is quite strong, but not quite as strong as that, okay? And it is not fireproof like the one before that. But anything made out of it is cannot decay. Okay, so because we all know that wood eventually decays, don't it? Doesn't it? Right? If if you make a staff, you know, eventually, or chest, etc., etc., eventually that's going to decay, isn't it? Time is going to take it is going to tear it away from you. Well, if it's made out of beryllium, that's not going to happen. It's immune to decay. Now, that doesn't stop it from fire. That isn't there are and doesn't stop it from being hacked and slashed, but it is completely immune to green slimes. Yes. Gelatinous cube, not gonna do it. Acids, you pour acid on it, it's not gonna do it. Okay? It's immune to that type of attack. Yeah, there's a good example too. It's immune to acid. It's immune to decay. Now, okay, it still can be destroyed and can be burned, okay? But it's immune to acid, okay? All right. So we talked about the black tree. We talked about the white tree. We talked about the turquoise tree. Now, there should be a pine tree in there too, and a willow. Okay, go ahead. Tell me the properties and name of the. I mean, the colors. Tell me the colors and name, and I will detail that one. And yeah, that's right. The turquoise tree was the pine tree. Good. Okay. Yeah. Jardine. Jaladine. Now the Jaladine was Which color? That's the white and blue, right? Yes, exactly. The Jaladine, the white tree with blue leaves. Okay? And this is another sacred tree, okay, that you will see pretty much cultivated. That's right. Two different kinds. Yeah, one is a willow, okay, and the other one is a maple. Okay? Right. Now, the the maple tree, the white and blue maple tree, now not two types of one sacred tree, there are two sacred trees. The three white ones are sacred trees. Okay? Okay. So the maple one, okay, which is the maple one is the Jaladine, okay? And Jaladine produces oxygen, okay? It produces massive amounts of oxygen, okay? Now, the disadvantage of course of that is that it is makes it flammable. But the advantage of that is that it if used in like water breathing, okay, then you're golden. Okay. It's also very effective in places that are uh, have low oxygen content. Okay, because it produces it. Okay, which makes it very very effective in the Underdark, doesn't it? Okay, it's extremely helpful to have a tree that produces oxygen. Okay, yes, regular trees do that, don't they? That is what trees do. You know, they take carbon dioxide and turn it into oxygen. This particular type of tree does not require carbon dioxide to do that. Okay? It just does it. So it makes it very effective and important, an important tree in the Old Kingdom. Okay? They're planted everywhere. Okay? This maple tree. But they are they're very cultivated and watched over by dark elven druids. Okay? Important to them. Okay? Okay. Now, the other white tree with blue leaves is a willow tree. Okay? All right. And we all know that willow trees require a great deal of water, don't they? Okay? And they tend to grow on the banks of rivers, Everglades, places like that, right? Okay? And they've got these huge overhanging branches. Okay? All right. Well, the white one with blue leaves does does have a similar obviously similar appearance. But the thing about that tree, yes, very beautiful. Thing about that tree is it emanates a shield of protection. Anyone familiar with the spell Mage Armor? Okay. Yes. So this type of wood, okay, which is called Ladoron, or later on, depending on how you want to pronounce it, produces the spell Mage Armor by itself. Okay? Just the wood itself. So if you happen to be, and the leaves too. So you happen to be under this willow tree, you it's like being in a force field. Okay? It's like being in a force field, protected by one. Okay? It produces a force field. Now that translates to be like mage armor if you were to something, make armor out of it. Okay? But this type of tree, the Ladoron, produces a force field. Yeah, not all that easy. You are correct. Okay? I never said any of these were easy. Yes. But the nice thing is that these types of woods can be acquired in deep roads runs, and they can also be located in loot crates. Okay? And no, a transmuter cannot make these materials unless they have already studied them. You have to have something in order to make something into it. Okay? You have to be familiar already with a thing in order to transmute into something else. Is it possible to make? Yes, it is. But you would have to have had it first and studied it extensively. All right? And then figured out how to do it. But it is not out of the realm of possibility. Okay. So those I just told you all the special woods that you can potentially acquire from deep roads runs or loot crates. If they chose to do that, yes, it is distinctly possible. Those trees that I talked about are being cared for sometimes in the old kingdom by high level druids, making groves. So is it possible if you had the seeds, etc., and work on it? Yes. You know, they are absolutely not common. Okay. Yes, lots of time. Yeah. Now all of these things are extremely, extremely rare. Okay. And that's why you're going to, you know, most likely how you will acquire any of those items is going to be from a loot crate. Okay. Or it is possible to come across that in a deep roads run. Okay. They have. Because, you know, those are types of materials that you could locate, you could find in a deep roads run. Okay. And that is not entirely uncommon. You know, you take that you take that chest and uh, you go to uh, depends. Maybe you might want to go if it's got rocks in it. Then you might want to go to Nif. Okay, so it depends on what's in it on who you want to go to. Okay, but it's always a good idea to, you know, go to the black market. Okay, because the black market, dump that thing out and we'll look at it. And then the person who's running the black market that day can contact me and say, this person has that. This has a purple rock and and uh, a pink monkey and uh, 6 green sticks and and a yellow frog and etc. 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 Okay, and they can contact me and I will let them know what that stuff is what that stuff is. Okay. So that's wood. All right. Now we're going to move along to other materials that are natural, you know, other types of plants. Okay. All right. And and similar things of similar nature. Okay. Firethorn nettles. Okay. Firethorn nettles is something also that is going to be rare to find in the deep roads runs, but they are a thorn bush, okay, with whose leaves look like fire, look like flames. They're orange, and the thorns are used for yeah, they have special qualities, okay, and there are a few uses for those. One of the uses of firethorn nettles is that they make it so that any poison or potion or imbibed substance is 10 times as powerful as it was. Okay? It increases the potency of imbibed substances. Okay? Fire thorn nettles. Thorns. Okay? All right? Next thing, ghost mushrooms. Okay? Ghost mushrooms are, as you might imagine, they are white mushrooms. For, that part is obvious, right? Okay. But what is not obvious is that ghost mushrooms make anything that they are part of, that they are used in, it's a stabilizing agent. Okay? It's a stabilizing agent, which for alchemy is extremely important. Very, very important to have a stabilizing agent. But one of the nice things about that also, about having a stabilizing agent, is say that you have been stabbed. Okay? You have been stabbed and you are bleeding out and you are going to die. Okay? You munch on a ghost mushroom and you're not going to die. Okay? You don't pop it in the wound. You chomp on it. Okay? You chomp on that mushroom and you are going to be stabilized. You are not going to die. Your wound is going to close and you're just going to lay there and pant. It's not going to heal you. Okay? It's not going to heal you, but it's going to stop you from dying. Okay? The reason it's called a ghost mushroom is because it is a prime ingredient in Dark Elven Death's Door. There is, some of you are familiar with the spell Death's Door. Well, there is a potion that is Dark Elven that most Dark Elves hang on to in the Old Kingdom. It's not something that's been common practice for hundreds of thousands of years, but they hang on to this potion so that if they're just about to die, they drink it up, and they're not going to. Okay? It doesn't quite work as well with beheading. But if your head, on rare occasion, there is a 1% chance that your head is cut off, that you it stays alive for a little while. If you're able to chomp that mushroom during that brief during the time your head is still alive, then you're not still not going to die. Okay? If you can get that mushroom in your mouth before your head dies, you know, you'll be all right. Remember that song, that old song? It's like, um, is the head dead yet? Uh, boys in the boys in the newsroom are have a running bet. Hmm. It's been a long, long, long time before I heard that song, but it qualifies. You know, what is that? Do 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 do. Dirty Laundry was the name of that song, if I remember correctly. Yep, there it is. Somebody, Pelner got it too. Yep, there you go. That is that is 100% effective. You know, if you happen to if you happen to live through it, you know, then do 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 do. Also, something you might want to know, okay, is ghost mushrooms has mind control resistance. So if you munch if you munch a ghost mushroom, you have a 10%. Hey, it's more than zero, right? You have a 10% chance of not being able to be mind controlled. Okay. So not only is it effective to keep your head alive, but it also makes it so that nobody can control that brain, you know? And since dark elves have a 99% mind control resistance, what do you think that does with that ghost mushrooms in the hands of a dark elf? And yes, they are poisonous too, by the way. Okay? See, here's the catch. Okay? Ghost mushrooms are also poisonous. Okay? All right? So there is a 25% chance that by consuming a ghost mushroom, you will die. Okay? It is a paralytic poison. Okay? So, eh, so it has advantages, but it could also kill you. Okay? But if you're going to die anyway, okay, you're bleeding out, your head's been decapitated, okay? Boys in the newsroom are having a run at bet, you know? Chomp that mushroom. Okay? Yeah, a drinking game with using ghost mushrooms. That's new version of Russian roulette. Okay. All right. Any questions about ghost mushrooms? Okay. Ask. What do they taste like? Well, they taste like steak, like prime rib. Yes, I did mention decapitation. So, if you shove a ghost mushroom in the head of someone who's still alive but decapitated, they won't die. Okay. Did that help? And if you kill a Roth in the Underdark in the Old Kingdom, someone will hunt you down and take you out. Okay? Yeah, you can preserve that head so that you can reattach it. Because cheese and there is a hmm, what's the best way to put it? There's a cheesemonger mafia among the old houses, and they protect the Roth because the Roth makes cheese. Okay, you can't get it any other way, and they're gonna come after you. You know, if you can imagine uh, a dark elven godfather coming after you because you killed his cow, they will be on you. That's right. Mistake. That's true. That's right. Martin Scorsese. 100% true. You know. Yep. The cows in the old kingdom are called Roth, and they are sacred animals to the cheesemonger mafia. For lack of a better word, they have another name for them. And if you ever encounter them, I will let you know what that is. Or if you happen to research it and you get the roles, I'll tell you what it is too. But yes, do not kill cows in the old kingdom unless you're willing to pay the price. You know, might just get you a pair of cement boots. Oh yeah, yeah, and Rothhide, yeah, that's gonna get you the same results. That's right. Leather in the old kingdom is not made out of Roth. They breed lizards for that, you know, specifically for that purpose. And they're not used as beasts of burden either. That's lizards are bred for that too. Naga hide, exactly correct. Now, if the beastie dies on her own, hey, that's a whole nother ball game, you know. You are correct. Then you are correct, because that does happen, you know. So, any other questions about cheese or actually it fell right in there. That was funny. Okay. So, ghost mushrooms, firethorn nettles. Um, I know I've kept you guys for a long time, hour and a half, so I won't keep you too much longer. Um, but there are a variety uh, of other worldly plants that you may locate in a deep roads run. Okay, I've touched on I've touched on a few of them. Uh, red bananas. Okay, excellent. Thank you for bringing that one up. Okay, so one of the trees, one of these trees that I was talking about earlier, a few of them actually grow fruit. Okay, and I did not mention that yet, did I? So I'm glad you said that. A few of those trees grow fruit. Okay, and the like the red banana tree, the one that grows red bananas, does not look like the banana trees you that you might be familiar with. Okay, all right, they don't look like the same. Okay, but they are there. Okay, all right. They have white bark, another white bark tree with black leaves. Okay, and they grow the red bananas. Now, blue. Sorry, they have blue leaves, right? Or sorry, double checking here. Yeah, that's right. They have white bark and blue leaves, and the they grow the red bananas. Okay, and those red bananas that come from that tree are like eating an entire meal. Okay, so one one chomp from a red banana is like eating an entire 4-course dinner. Okay, so one banana will feed you for a week. Okay, actually, Pella is not entirely on the wrong track. There's a white apple. Jill Thorn, what tree does the white apple come from? Mhm. Yep, yep, that's right. The Bathnorp tree, we talked about it earlier, remember? Well, It has white apples. White apples are explosive. Yeah, that's right. Apple bombs, you know. The Beatles would be very happy because these apples are a big hit. Yes, some things you eat might come back to haunt you real quick. You know that. Yeah, that apple is an excellent example. You chomp on that apple, you're gonna know what it does really fast. Okay, but just so you know, it also grants you protection from fire. It explodes on impact, not just touch. It takes impact. Like biting it would be generally impact. But if you manage, yeah, it's a grenade. Exactly. But if you manage to dissect it without causing impact, it gives you 10% protection from fire. What did we say about that particular tree earlier? We mentioned this tree before. We just didn't mention it had apples. Yeah. No, it's not the willow tree. That's right. It's the ironwood. How did I get over here? All right. Yes, it has its own defenses. Some reason, no idea. That's crazy. All right. See, this is what lag does. I don't know. Crazy,
Wanted to run me over, just take a number.
right? Okay, so while I get my character back under control, while I do that, all right, go back and look at the name of that tree. scroll backwards a little bit. Look at the Balthanor tree. Yep. I think now I'm going to crash. So my character freaks out, jumps all over the place, and then it crashes on me. What's up with that? Now, and when I come back from it, I'm in the other side of the room again. Okay. I have no idea what is going on here. I'm cracking up. All right. Okay. There you go. Yep. That's right. This is the point where I'm not my own video. Okay. So I got to get back in proper position here. I don't know how I got to where I'm at. So while we're doing that, look. So what were the properties of the Balthania tree? Okay. I'm going to have to do this with little tiny clicks because it's not allowing me. That's right. That's right. It's the Ironwood tree. And it has white apples. So, do you think that when the apples fall from the tree that they damage it? Baldos tennis, Jalil Puddlegump Bikin? No, they don't. The apples fall from the tree because apples do that, right? But they don't damage the tree whatsoever. Yep, it does make it very difficult for for the seeds, right? And that's why a that grove, a grove of the ironwood trees, this variety of the Belanoth will be a pretty big grove because when it's the seeds will have grown all over the place and bounced off other trees and all that jazz. Okay. So we talked about the bananas, which gives you a full meal. And we've talked about the apples. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the Balthania tree. Okay. Not the Balthnor. Okay. That's the Balthania tree. The Bathnor tree is red maple with black leaves. That's got the white apples on it. Balthania is the ironwood. Okay. We talked about the red maple with black leaves too, didn't we? Balthania is the ironwood tree. Oh, or did we? Did we not bring this one up? Oh, Mage Barrier is the willow tree. You're right. We did not talk about this one. Okay. The Bathnor is a red maple tree with black leaves. Okay. And obviously it has and with white apples. Okay. It looks like a maple tree. Okay. And the white apples are explosive unless you're able to chomp it. Okay. Now the wood from this tree, okay, protects you from concussion. Okay? You remember how silk will not help you versus concussion, but it will from blades, right? Okay? Well, the Bathnor tree is quite the opposite. It doesn't protect you from blades. Okay? It protects you from bludgeoning objects. That's right. You can hammer on it all day long, and you're not going to have that much effect. You have to cut it. Okay? But it protects you from bludgeoning. Okay. The ironwood trees are the Balthania. Okay? And that is the white one. That's the white one. Okay? Balthnor is red. Balthania is white. And the leaves on the Balthania are blue, I think. Yeah. All right. So, little Thorn, are there any other? Yeah, turquoise. That's all good. That's all good. Okay. Little Thorn, let's go through them. Okay? One at a time, because you have the list in front of you. Okay? First tree. This will help you guys. Okay? First tree that we talked about. Uh, Arkandor. I don't think that was the. Is that the first tree we talked about? Okay. Uh, okay. This is not letting me scroll. I'm going to have to turn my avatar away from you guys. For some reason, I suddenly got a lag wave. Obviously, when it made me teleport all over the room, that should have been example, right? Okay. Yes. The first one we talked about was not Arkandor. That's what I thought. First one we talked about was the Ironwood tree. Okay. Which is the Balthania. Okay. And the second tree we talked about was the Arkandor. Okay. Now, the Balthania one, which is the turquoise tree, okay, it's an oak tree. It's a turquoise oak tree. Okay. And that one had the white leaves. There's turquoise with white leaves, right? And that is, yeah, that's the ironwood. The Balthania is the ironwood tree. It looks like an oak tree. It has the appearance of an oak tree. It is ironwood in the magical sense. Okay. Okay, Jill Thorn, go ahead. Yes, drop out your list, and then I will follow up with that. This will make it easier for all of you guys. Okay, make it easier for you to keep track of what, because I just obviously confused you all. Okay. Not a problem. I do that sometimes. Okay. That's your maze tree, guys. The Argandor. Well, sorry for the heads up here. She's throwing out stuff, and I will be following up with it because, yep, there's the Bathnor. That's your white apple tree. Red maple with black leaves. Okay. I know. And it might be confusing to rewatch because we're trying, I'm trying to get down to the nitty gritty here with you. Okay. And there's your other white willow. And this white willow is the one with the red bananas. All right. And you will also notice that it had other qualities. I talked a little bit about that. It's the wood from the tree earlier. Yes, one of them has red bananas. And I know it's weird for conceptually in your brain to think, how does a willow tree have bananas? Because it's not real. Okay, all true. All right. So she just gave you a general rundown. All right. Yes. Well, the the when you're looking at them, they don't look the same because the white willow with that has the red bananas have broader their leaves are much broader. Okay? So yes, they're both the same color, okay? White bark with blue leaves, but the the latter one has broader, much broader leaves. They're more like banana leaves, okay? Yeah. Whereas the former one has long, thin whip-like branches and so small leaves. Okay? Does that help your confusion on that part? They don't look the same. They're both the same colors, but they don't look the same. Okay? Okay. Hopefully, I that eased some of the confusion. Okay? Did it? I hopefully it did. Okay, good. All right. So, long story short, a couple of the trees that we talked about is a couple of them are fruit bearing. Most of them are not, but a few of them are. Okay. All right. And do keep in mind that if you can get this knowledge turned into IC as long as you research in the library. That's always an option. Okay. Okay, let's see here. I think that I have covered most of the general speaking ones. Um, uh, and I know that we have talked about the slumber sand earlier. I mean, it's been discussed a lot because you guys have been doing salt stuff. Okay, so yep. So do remember if you get white apples, there and it has a potential negative to it. But if you should manage to uh, not blow up, if you figure out a way to make a pie out of it, for example, it is 10% fire protection. Okay. All right. Yep, ghost mushrooms do stabilize, but they're poisonous too. So, mixed bag. Yes, you could make a white apple pie. You could, if you can manage to do it without blowing up. It'll give you 10% fire protection. Okay. All right. Any questions about anything that we have talked about so far? Okay. So let's see if I can make this come open. Okay. Now if I can. Oh, there we go. Quickly looking through and seeing if there was anything that Malachite dropped me that I need to bring to your attention. Because I tell her all kinds of things at when I'm not running row. But I don't see anything off the top of my head. Well, I'll have to look at it more later. Okay. So, on that note, I will go ahead and cut you guys loose. Balados for your attendance today. My apologies for the bouncing. I don't know what, why. I don't know. There you go. What are you gonna do, right? All right. Balados for your attendance. Findos for now.